Welcome to A New View. We are Restored Ministries, and this week's episode, we're going to talk about the beauty of balance. Everybody's probably this time of year, and they're like, how many Fridays before Christmas is it? How many this, how many that, what exactly, I have so much to do. And so probably a lot of people aren't finding a lot of balance right now. But I have to tell you, God always tells me when he kind of gives me the phrase, and I really felt like he kept saying the beauty of balance, the beauty of balance. That was kind of my awakening impression for months and months and months, and he's working in my life to get a little bit more balance. But I said, he always says, go look up the simplified definition. So this right here, this will sing. It says balance, an even distribution of weight, enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady.
Ooh, I like the upright part.
The upright and steady, I was like, yeah, because some days I don't feel too upright. Some days I'm not too steady. And I thought, yes, that's the beauty of balance. So when we have balance, then we are able to stabilize. We are able to stay upright. And I just love that. I loved that. And then I was kind of going through, I love how the time hop always shows you like things from past years. That. Sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's not. But there was such a great quote by Elizabeth Cruz, and I've shared a lot of her stuff over the years because she does winning words. And it's actually, she does a lot of it towards food-based, like overcoming emotional eating, kind of our Thursday night class and things that we do, our support group for recovery for that's been going almost 10 years now. That's one of the devotions that we really do because it's kind of geared towards, better balance and taking care of yourself and emotionally not turning to food, turning to God. But she had this wonderful quote that showed up in my time hop as we were preparing for this whole beauty of balance, the beauty of balance. And it says, worshiping or wandering, that is the choice that is always before us. We are either joyfully doing the things God asks of us, or we're being contentious and rebelling against our Maker and refusing to listen to his voice. We are either living a life of balance and harmony that is in sync with God's gracious Spirit, or we are living a life of anxiety and strife as we quarrel with God rather than cooperating with his divine plan and purposes for our lives. And that just really hit me and thought, wow, be anxious for nothing. The whole Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need. Thank him for all he has done. And how many times do we, when we get out of that beauty of balance, is because we've become anxious?
Well, especially this time of year.
Yes.
No, I certainly agree with that. I know for me, I can always tell when I'm out of alignment with God. That's when I start to become anxious. So typically, life gets busy, and instead of me going to God first, like, okay, Lord, let me go ahead and bring my calendar to the Lord for the day. God, this is what my plans are today. Take away whatever you want to take away. Add whatever you want to add. When I find myself not doing that, and when I'm not going to God first, but I'm stepping out and just making decisions without any reflection, and without any prayer, that's when I find I'm out of alignment, and then I start to get anxious.
Right.
And so usually I'll start to feel that way, and what I do then is to get back into alignment, I always start with confession.
That's good, yeah.
Lord, stop, let me just confess to you, this is what's going on. I've done these things without asking your permission. I've gone ahead and just made my own decisions, and I didn't ask you about it. And then I go to supplication. So I ask the Lord to come into these decisions, to fix what I've messed up, to guide me, and then I go into praising Him for helping me, for forgiving me, and for moving me forward.
I love that. Something I think you said that's still kind of resonating with me when you said, we do that calendar, instead of bringing God into our calendar, we bring our calendar to God and things. And so that's such a good way to say, no, and I've gotten better about that, but still sometimes, I think we were sharing about it before the show, sometimes people will ask you to do something and your flesh is like, oh my gosh, yes, I want to do that. I love to do that. But
and it's good stuff.
And it's good stuff.
Like, of course, like, the Lord would say yes to this.
Yes, it's good. He'll work it all out. yes, 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 yes. And recently I had that situation, and the Holy Spirit really spoke to me, and He says, I've already told you what my priorities for you are. And I'm like, I'm supposed to say no to this. And so then I had to tell the person, I said, in my flesh, I'd be all over this. I would love to be able to help you to do this opportunity. Yes, I'll make it work, whatever. And then I said, but God's really asking me to do some specific things, and that's going to mean I have to say no to this. And so that's really hard,
I think it's interesting because calendars are probably the biggest source of anxiety for people, whether it's too full or not. So for me, I've been struggling the last probably 4 months or so, trying to find balance, and I'm still looking. But the thing I read for you had the other day, a note said, we must learn to be mindful of the condition of our souls.
Yes.
And I think that's where we all need to find balance. It's not necessarily in your diet or in your cleaning your house versus being at work or cooking versus eating out. It starts here.
I forgot about that little nudge too. Yeah, I'm glad you remembered that. Yeah,
that was a good one.
I'm glad you remembered that. That's true.
So in trying to find this balance, as a noun, balance is an even distribution of weight, enabling someone to remain upright or steady, or also it's, by that definition, it's temporary. Because there's always going to be something pulling in anything balanced in one direction or another, whether it's gravity or a person or a circumstance or something.
Okay.
The condition, as a noun also, it's a condition in which different elements are equal or in the correct proportions. So, if you're scientific, there's so many variables in that, whether we're talking about the pH of your pool or your body or your financial portfolio diversity, the sustainability of this even balance, it's gonna fluctuate.
Right.
So you might sense that I'm getting toward balance isn't achievable. Let's see.
I'm hearing that.
As a verb.
Yeah,
but there's beauty in what I'm getting to.
Yes.
Okay. As a verb, it's to keep or put something in a steady position so it doesn't fall. Again, gravity and priorities. It may fall down your list of priorities, whether it's a tangible thing or it's not. It's going to fluctuate.
Because you have to shift in order to keep your balance. A lot of times, I think that's the whole beauty of balance is how you stood in one season or one time. Just a small shift, you got to realign, you got to reshift to keep balance. And it makes me
think of like the biodome, and you have the trees and stuff, and that's great. But as soon as you introduce the elements, they fall over because they weren't challenged and pressed and grow in a way that they can stand.
I was thinking of that Shark Tank exerciser that you like that. My daughter and I were trying to do it at Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know. It's like something like a balance board.
It's like a plastic thing. Yeah. I like this.
Oh, and then just another verb as to offset or compare the value of one thing with another. So everything being relative, without a point of reference, you can't accurately value anything. So here we are women running around trying to find our balance. We're looking everywhere for it. It was not in my coffee this morning, and it was not at the gym. I still don't know where it is. Yeah. But we have a high value on it. We're like desperately seeking this balance, right? So what I'm realizing is that okay, it's a myth. That's where I want to go with this. Yesterday, I realized that sustaining balance is a myth. Sustaining. Now, you can get there for a minute. It's a place you can visit. Right. If you're going to expect to stay there, you're going to be severely disappointed. So, once you accept the fact that you're going to periodically hit balance in this wheel that we're running in, it's a thing that you don't have to stress over anymore. It's going to come back around, So instead of holding on to these worldly weights, I pick them up and put them back down, and then my momentary balance is something I can be thankful for when I have it, instead of constantly feeling like I don't have it.
That's good.
That's real good.
So a couple questions I think we can ask ourselves. Instead of saying, oh, I'm out of balance, I don't have this, let's look at it from the other side and say, what do I need right now to feel balanced? Like I was working so much more the last few months, I felt so guilty not being able to make divine connections as much. And again, it's a good thing. I should have been there, but it wasn't working balance-wise right now. So I should have been able to say, I'm going to take this off my plate and put it on my side plate for another time. And put it back on when I can get it on. But you need to ask yourself, in order to feel balanced, what am I missing? Do I need to spend time with a particular person, reach out to someone in particular? Is there something I have to accomplish to feel balanced? Are there deadlines or important dates coming up? Where does the balance happen? Or am I confusing that with peace?
That's good.
Oh, I like that last one.
I like that. You're going to have to put everything you you've written so that we can share that on the Facebook page too, because there's just too many nuggets
There's
for
a lot
me
in there.
Yeah.
to really grasp it. I love how you broke this down, Kim. I really do, because that's, you know, the whole thing is the beauty of balance, but it looks like something different for each and every one of us,
And at different times.
and we're finding, and we're beating ourselves up
For sure.
and feeling guilty that we haven't found the balance. You know, like, oh, I should find the balance. You know, I should be able to do that. I should do that. But that's the whole beauty of the balance, is evaluating what is our priority, and it doesn't have to be the same thing rigid all the time. It could be something different.
I don't think it can stay the same.
No, I don't think it can either.
And that the part you started with was checking the condition of your soul.
Yes.
I like that too.
Exactly. We must learn to be mindful to the conditions of our soul. So we hope that you have got a ton of nugget drops, because we did today on this episode of A New View, talking about the beauty of balance. And as promised, we're going to put that on the Facebook page so that you can kind of read it and kind of understand what Kim was trying to say. But we hope that you have been encouraged. So please share your view on A New View of how do you think of balance. And what do you find ways maybe for you to find balance in your life? Give us some nuggets. We'd love to hear them. So we hope that you've been blessed. Take care and have a great day.